Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Gundam Building. It is I, Vendova, and today we are going over this guide just as promised, that I have dubbed the Libra Gundam. So, kick things off, go over it just a little bit, so you can see what all we're on about. So, briefly, we got the Live Lance head, Live Lance Heaven head, the Exia body, Live Lance arms and legs. The backpack is of the Knight Superior Gundam. And then we got joined Gatling guns for the left and right arm, because I just love the easy build up to hit bonus that we can get. Then for our melee, we're using this here Saber. And it's not the best built thing I've ever made, but truth be told, I saw that they were putting out an update where you can search for parts easier, like skills that parts have, here relatively soon. And I thought it was gonna be in time for me to make the video. It turns out it was not, so I kind of slacked a little bit here, unfortunately. So again, it's a rapier. It could be better technically, but don't worry about that part. Then we have this here screw web whip in my hand. I actually have gotten to really like whips. The shield, it's mostly just for aesthetic. And then builder's parts. We have the anti-beam cloak, a GN field generator. As you can see, we have a rocket anchor. And then we have the boomerangs on the left and right shoulder underneath the cloak. And then, of course, we have a rapier. And then for the EX skills, I'm making use of the large beam saber, the zero system off of the arms, making use of lightning stimulant for my awaken type, and then the burning slash. But none of this really matters a whole lot. This is kind of just put in whatever you want to, because the only thing that's actually on this build that's from the Gundam is the zero system. So it's kind of do what you want to on that part. And sort of the same thing here. The beam boomerangs is what I'm mainly using. The boomerangs and the rocket the rocket anchor, and the cloak is largely what I'm making use of. The rapier isn't technically actually worth making use of. Now then, ability cartridges. I'm maxing out my health with this, and then I'm pumping up my reaction speed really high with these two, but seeing as reaction speed caps at 200, and I'm only 8 off of 200% with these two being on here, I didn't think that extra bit was worth it, so then I slapped on 2 extra attack powers for close range modules in here. And with all that said, we'll just go and give you a little look-see about what it does in a new type mission. So, the short of what this thing is about is it is designed around being a pure melee build for the most part. Like, I know it has boomerangs on there, so technically it's not pure melee, but the boomerangs are there to stun opponents and then make it to where you do go up and melee them. So, that's what it does.
Alright, here we go.
Like I said, we have these literally just to build up to the easy 300. And then what I like to do is I like to go and see if I can't get a bunch of guys gathered up with the whip, and then if I do, then it makes it to where I can stab them a lot easier. As you can see, the rapiers are nutty. Like, the fact that you can just do that attack right here, and it just hits really good. I mean, I see zero downside to it, and I love it. Alright, gather these clowns up. As you can see, it definitely does a good job of just melting things.
Here it comes.
Now, obviously, it's not the most riveting gameplay to build, or gameplay. However, you can't say it's not effective.
Complete.
And what I find the most ironic about it is that you are literally just holding down the attack button to do all those stabs. Like, there's no button mashing or anything like that. And you can still do pretty decent damage if you just go and, like, stab. So, go ahead and build this back up real quick. So, you can just come up here and you can just stab them. And it'll do plenty fine, but it's, it's faster and therefore more effective to do this. So you can see why I was saying, like, the the rapier on the OP slot really isn't getting used a lot. And for whatever reason, it seems like I'm not able to do ground slams with this, and I don't remember if that's because, like, I don't have a module on for it, or what the case is, because I've never noticed that I needed one before. Or maybe it's just that I can't do ground slams with a rapier? I'm not quite sure. But that is something that I have noted, and was confused about, for sure. But yeah, it's mostly just winding up and stabbing things. Yes, Lynn, we know. You're looking pretty bad. It's fine. You have a little bit of health left. And now you don't have any health left. Pick you up just so you don't complain. Interesting place you've managed to get yourself stuck in there, sir.
Oh, dang. That one's super strong.
Yeah, we'll be fine. What the heck am I looking? Hello? Attack this guy, please. Thank you.
Bullseye. This is shown.
But yeah, I mean, it does everything good. Does damage, does breaks, etc., etc.
No turning back now. Let's get him.
And obviously, staying within Zero System makes it to where you pretty well always have the capability to be doing as fast of attacks as you can. I'm saying that poorly, but you know what I mean. Because of the reaction speed it gives you, you're able to get your attacks out that much quicker. And so, I think that's pretty neat. And so, yeah. Now, technically, this is just this variation of the Libra, because this thing has actually gone through 3 different stages of idea behind them and whatnot. And so, technically, it is set up to where you can play it more or less in whatever fashion you like. So, what I mean by that is, I have actually designed it to where there are 3 different melee weapons that I was considering using in actually going and making the video. And so, those specifically are the rapier that I'm using, this electro spear, that's the wrong hand, this electro spear, and then the halberd. And I was using them for different reasons. But to just go into test mode and to elaborate on to why I was looking at those 3 in particular, it mostly comes down to their movesets and the way they can behave. So this build, which I'll show you in a minute, has a lot of charge built into it because I was originally planning to use either a lance or an axe whenever I was doing this. And when you have a lot of charge, you can do things like this. Now, anyone who's used axes before knows normally that's a lot longer charge, so you can just charge it up so fast. And then with the halberd specifically, its forward and heavy attack throws the halberd, and it actually stuns your opponent. The same way a boomerang does, this halberd stuns your opponent. And so you can have a all-inclusive means of, you know, keeping your opponents locked and stun locked, where you can just go around and bap them all day like that. Now, of course, you can still go and just swing the axe like normal. And again, the whip will gather up your enemies, and you can put them in, and you can smack them like that. And that was one of the original ideas I had behind it. And I just chose the halberd because it's like the largest axe. I thought it could theoretically catch more enemies. And then my reasoning with the electro spear, well, any spear really, is because I was fiddling around with it and figured out that it has this attack you can do with it. Oops, sorry. Well, hang on. That one. So that is its forward and, well, depending on which button you have it on, but in my case, forward and Y, because, you know, it's in my right hand. And it does that. And so, as opposed to having to come over here to an opponent and, you know, stab, 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 and then, you know, do that, or come over here, do a charge attack, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and do all these kind of nonsense. You know, doing this, doing this is relatively easy. If I could just make it happen. You know, it's fast, you do good damage, it makes it harder for enemies to hit you, etc., etc. And truth be told, I kind of just wanted to use a lance in the first place, because I thought it looked cool. And so, that's a majority of my reasoning for it, and just because, you know, obviously melee and is one of the best melee attack types in the game right now, but I like to try and have a little bit of variation in my stuff, and so that's why I considered adding different things and whatnot to it. Now, the reason I didn't go and use like a katana or a saber or anything else, basically, is because I didn't like the way that they were particularly attacking and their movesets and all that. It was literally just a personal preference. So, you know, that's to say, you can take this and basically, as long as you have high reaction speed, and I encourage you to have something that kind of stuns your enemy, you can make a very good melee-focused build. So to specifically go over stuff that I used in it, here we have the HP, action speed, recovering hits on attack is good, especially if you're going to be using these guns. Anything that hits fast and hard, and like say, you know, works for my rapier too, you know, it's hitting a lot, so that gets my health back that much faster. Awakening gauge, and then 10 reduction charge, like I say. Having all those. And then a lot of the same stuff here. Keeping my break combo up was something that it's okay. It's not the best of abilities and whatnot, but, you know, to each their own. And I still have not taken the near-death percentage off because I keep forgetting to, honestly. Oh, my controller. Being annoying. Anyway. Again, same stuff here, just general skills. What a lot of it is going to boil down to on most of these is coming into on your actual weapons. So depending on the attacks, the type of attacks you're going to be doing, you know, I have on here, for instance, you know, increasing the attack power of Wild Dance OPs. And you can tell I'm not really using those, so it really doesn't matter. But I already have attack power for my right lance, and for close range OPs. And, you know, so as long as you're building to strong suits of what you plan to be doing with the weapon, then it'll work out good for you. And as you can see here with the whip, you know, I originally planned on using the axe, and so I had the axe in here. And then it didn't really bother changing it for anything else. And I like to have something that does these effects. So the Gene Shield generator, if I have a builder slot, I like to put it in there just because it takes reduced damage, it gives me more OP options. It's just good. Anchor, pulling him to me from melee, obviously still good. Stun for boomerangs, and the rapier can honestly be removed because it wasn't being used anyway. But it's always nice to have the option. Now, I will say, if I was going to be using the halberd, I would have kept the halberd on here regardless, because if you hold the button to use the halberd, then it will throw it just like you can throw your own halberd, and it's a little bit easier to execute to just hold and use the ability button than to hit the forward and attack button, because you can get that timing a little bit off. And so it's just a good way to do it. And yeah, so that is the general build. I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know inside of the comment section, of course. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. Keep building.